on Monday, 6:51 p.m. when the blast took place right outside the Red Fort. And in the last 3 to 4 days, we here at Republic TV have been trying to piece together what we know so far about the blast. The men, the women, the module, the terror groups, the Pakistani links. We've been able to put together what we know. And in the course of the next 1 hour, here on Republic TV, Shravan and I will try and take you through the investigation. The Republic investigation continues as we piece together everything that our agencies and our investigators are telling us about the 10/11 conspiracy. Shravan, if you want to tell our viewers what we have today.
Tonight, in fact, we have come with a full detailed investigation. All this while, ladies and gentlemen, you may have been told that whether at all there is any Pakistan link or not. Right from day one, when the blast took place, and a few hours later when we basically went through this entire footage, we basically did get an inkling that there has to be something more sinister, and that's exactly what has happened. Tonight, like always, we have come to you with full-fledged evidence that has been gathered by the investigative agencies, and like always, ahead of others, we are putting out full details. Every piece of information that we're going to put out over the next 1 hour is verified, and that has set the agenda, raising questions as to why exactly are we being squeamish in taking the name of the kingpin here. The kingpin is across the border. Tonight, we're going to take our viewers through every small details.
Let's first look at the faces so far, ladies and gentlemen. In the last 3 to 4 days, these are the faces that we've been able to gather, piece together the web of terror. These are the doctors of terror. This man is not a doctor, he's a class 5 dropout. And this man is key. Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, in today's day and age, Shravan, a class 5 dropout, a radical Muslim, radical preacher sitting in Shopia, Kashmir, managed to bring all of them together. These two, this is the bomber of Delhi, Umar Nabi, this is Muzammil, both of them classmates at GMC Anantnag, both of them neighbors, both of them then come to Al-Falah University in Faridabad. Both of them happen to be followers and students of this radical cleric. And this man, Shravan, brought all of them together. What was his role in this entire investigation? And how does he become the key now?
Well, in fact, the radicalization process actually begins with this man called Maulvi Irfan, based out of Shopia. But as we have been pointing out in the last 2 days, that could this have been done by only this man? That's not the case, because it turns out from what we have gathered today, Niranjan, is that this man, Dr. Muzammil, here you have Dr. Adil and Dr. Shaheen. One, the fact that they are highly radicalized, the fact that it all started way back in 2022. In fact, over the next couple of minutes, we're going to tell you more faces have basically emerged, those who are behind this entire radicalization process and how they all essentially came together. And tonight, the focus will be on this man, Dr. Adil Ahmad. And I'm going to tell you why Dr. Adil, Dr. Muzammil, and Umar's, or when all of them basically came together, where did they go? Over the last few years, what were they essentially doing? And who was the man who wasn't unmasked all this while, Niranjan?
Yeah. Shravan, I think it brings us to the Pakistan link, and this has been a big exclusive today, ladies and gentlemen. A little after 10 a.m. this morning, we got a picture, Shravan got a picture of this doctor. He's also a doctor, Muzaffar. And Muzaffar happens to be a key link. He's the Pakistan link. And we are now going to show you more about Muzaffar. He's the brother of the terrorist Adil Rathar, who we just showed you. His brother, Muzaffar, was the one in Pakistan, was the one who then moved to Afghanistan, was the man who held a meeting with these bombers in Turkey. We've been able to pick up details of who he is and why he's critical. Here's the big exclusive of the day. Shravan will take a look at the story and then tell you more about Muzaffar. Take a look.
It is now confirmed. Pakistan's hand in the Delhi terror plot is undeniable. The man at the center, Dr. Muzaffar Ahmad Rathar, brother of arrested terror doctor Adil, was the link connecting the entire module to Pakistan-based handle. Investigators say Pakistan is now using Afghan soil to direct attacks inside India. It begins in 2022. the first foreign link surfaces. Muzaffar and Dr. Muzammil fly to Turkey, where they meet Pakistani handler Okhla in Istanbul, the man who later directed the Delhi module. By 2023, Muzaffar shifts base to Dubai, posing as a professional while secretly acting as a liaison between the terror module and the Pakistani handlers. Every instruction, every fund transfer routed through him. Then, in 2025, after his brother Dr. Adil's arrest, Muzaffar flees to Afghanistan, switching locations. From Kabul, he coordinates with handlers Okhla and Khattab, relaying final directions for the Delhi blasts. And finally, in 2025, the link is nailed. As the Red Fort blast probe deepens, Muzaffar's name emerges as the prime handler. Now J&K police, through the CBI, have moved Interpol for a red corner notice to bring him back. From Kashmir to Kabul, Istanbul to Delhi, the trail exposes a terror network that spans 3 countries and 2 continents.
We are outside the residence of Dr. Adil and Muzaffar. Adil is already in the custody of J&K police, the Srinagar police, and now the Jammu and Kashmir police has requested Interpol, as they had approached Interpol, to issue a red corner notice as well as the Muzaffar is concerned. Today we are showing you the visuals of this residence. This is located in Qazi Gund, Kulgam, where the Jammu and Kashmir police approached Interpol to issue a red corner notice against Dr. Muzaffar in connection with the interstate white-collar terror module Mudassar.
And as Republic continues to expose this white-collar terror syndicate, the hunt for terror Dr. Muzaffar Rather now goes global.
Well, in fact, Dr. Muzaffar becomes the key person. In fact, this afternoon, after we broke this, Jammu and Kashmir police has now confirmed that they are basically reaching out to the Central Bureau of Investigation, which happens to be the nodal agency as far as Interpol is concerned. And a red corner notice is going to be issued because this man is no longer in India. So let's take you through the details. This on your screen is Dr. Muzaffar Ahmad Rather, who happens to be the brother of Adil Rather, and he was the one who was basically running this entire doctor module sitting out of Dubai. It is only after the arrest of Adil things started changing. Let's carry on. Brother of terrorist Dr. Adil, as we just pointed out, in fact, he has been in India for some time, and thereafter he started moving out. The moment Niranjan he left from India, he basically started connecting with the handlers.
Yeah, can we go to the next point, please? Let's keep moving fast. He was in touch with the Pakistani handler who moved to Afghanistan and was based there. Omar was directed to carry out the attack by Muzaffar, and this was after the arrest of Muzammil, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. His brother was arrested, Saharanpur, and after that module was busted,
can I just quickly add this point that Muzaffar and Dr. Muzammil visited Turkey in 2022 because it turns out
they're brothers.
This was this is not the brother.
Adil
was the brother.
Yeah.
So they went to Turkey in 2022. I'll just finish all the points that we have, and I'll add a few things that we have missed out here. Muzaffar and Muzammil met Pakistani handler, that is the Okhla is the handler which has been named in Istanbul. It could be a code name also. And as far as the Dubai link here, Muzaffar was actually coordinating this doctor terror module sitting out of Dubai. And can we just move a little quickly? And after the terror, Dr. Adil's arrest moved to Afghanistan.
He moved to Afghanistan.
Yeah, so let's just quickly recap this. So all this while, you only knew about these 4 doctors. Now, this man was in the hiding. No one knew about it. This morning when I got a call from my source that here is the other link that is emerging, and what's the Pakistan link? Muzaffar, in fact, was directly in touch with the Jaish handlers. 2 of the handlers, one happens to be Khattab and the other is Okhla. Okhla could be a code name altogether, Niranjan, but it turns out that while he was in Dubai, he was coordinating with all of them here. Of course, you've had the clerics. One cleric happens to be from Mewat, who was the logistical provider. But the moment Adil got his brother was arrested, he immediately left for Afghanistan. And from there, he started basically coordinating this entire thing. It turns out that Omar, who was actually in Faridabad, got a call directly from the handlers, including Muzaffar, and Muzaffar had given the instruction that carry on, do what we had basically asked, and which essentially translated to carry out the bombing, because their initial plan was serial bombing in the month of December.
Yeah, serial blasts were planned for December, but they advanced that plan after the arrest of the entire Al-Falah module, which brings us to the story of Al-Falah, the university on the edge of Delhi NCR, ladies and gentlemen, in Faridabad. Trouble is mounting for the Al-Falah University. Now, they tried to claim that they had nothing to do with their own faculty. Can you imagine if it was one faculty member, two faculty members, three faculty members, okay, 4, 5 faculty members, 6 of them have been arrested, more under the scanner, and their funding is now under scanner, details of which we've brought out today. Al-Falah University can't just say we had nothing to do with it, they were just staff and nothing else. One of the cars that were to allegedly be used in the bombings have been found inside the Al-Falah University. Shavan, if you can quickly tell us what is happening on the Al-Falah front, we'll then go into that story.
Well, Niranjan, you pointed out that it is not about one doctor, two doctor. You have the entire module basically operating from inside the campus, multiple meetings that took place inside building number 17, which we are going to show you in a short while from now. We were the only network to have actually gone inside to get a sense of what was really happening. Now, this is what I've picked up in the last few hours. In fact, when Home Minister Amit Shah called in for a meeting this afternoon, he's given direct instructions that look into how were they really operating. When I spoke to one of my sources who was part of the meeting, essentially indicated that you will have the financial agencies basically looking into how exactly were they getting the funding. In fact, the management so far has been saying that all the money that they've been getting are from the one that has been collected through fees. That's not possible. It turns out that the owner of Al-Falah, in fact, was... his name surfaced during a chit fund scam, was actually behind bars. And it now turns out that the agency suspect that there is a dubious financial transaction that has taken place. And in the days to come, you would have the Enforcement Directorate filing an ECIR, which is an FIR equivalent.
Here's what is happening in the case of Al-Falah. ED also stepping in. We went inside. Here's what we found out.
Haryana's Al-Falah University has come under the scanner after its alleged links to the Red Fort blast has emerged to the forefront. Today, India's higher education regulator, National Assessment and Accreditation, has issued a notice to the Al-Falah University for displaying a false accreditation claim.
Here we'll show you. You see Al-Falah University in this form, a private university established by an act of Haryana, recognized by UGC under section accredited with A grade. Now this is the claim, which is an absolute false claim. NACC has said that this is a false claim. We'll also show you how this university has issued a statement. We are going to show you how they have completely ridden their hands from any kind of association with these doctors. We wish to make it clear that university has no connection with the said persons apart from working in their official capacities with the university. And here we also want to make it loud and clear that as responsible institution, we stand in solidarity with the nation and reaffirm our unwavering commitment. So this is what the university has issued, and we are right now at the office here in Okhla. The Haryana police, Delhi police was here. They've collected certain documents which is connected to the university, to their ownership, related to other important, again, the information is not disclosed at the moment because it is an ongoing investigation.
Further, the university has been given 7 days to respond to the notice. Meanwhile, the university's funding as well as the financial transactions of its doctors will also be probed. ED is also set to file a case against Al-Falah University, and top government sources claim that suspicious financial transactions are to be probed. Amidst this, the Al-Falah University website has been taken down by administrators, with security agencies looking into reasons behind this action by university authorities. Meanwhile, the bomb squad has also reached the Al-Falah University.
मैंने minutes after the show cause notice news broke, it is being found the university's website has been taken down by the university authorities. Now we talk about what are the security forces who have been here for several days now. It's the fourth day that the security forces are inside. This is the very premises. I would request my camera person to show you. This is the very premises. It is well within the interiors that the whole premises has been taken over by the security agencies, be it STF, be it crime branch officials, be it police officials from different departments of Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir, Delhi police as well for that matter.
Here's what the university's legal advisor had to say.
मैडम, ये एक दुखद घटना हुई है। यूनिवर्सिटी इस चीज़ के लिए बहुत दुख में है, सदमे में है, और यूनिवर्सिटी के लोग ये चाहते हैं कि जितने भी लोगों ने ये हरकत की है, इतने नोबल प्रोफेशन में आने के बाद उन लोगों ने ये हरकत की है, आइसोलेटेड वाली हरकत की है, उनके खिलाफ पूर्णतः कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए। जो लोग इसको उन लोगों को रेडिकलाइज किया है, जिन लोगों ने भी किया है, उनके खिलाफ भी पूरी कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए, उन्हें जस्टिस पे लाना चाहिए।
सर, इसकी फंडिंग को लेके, अल-फलाह यूनिवर्सिटी की फंडिंग को लेके बहुत सवाल उठ रहे हैं, उस पर आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
अल-फलाह यूनिवर्सिटी के अंदर जितनी भी फंडिंग है, अल-फलाह यूनिवर्सिटी की फीस से उसकी फंडिंग है। अल-फलाह यूनिवर्सिटी को कोई भी बाहर के देशों से, किसी जगह से भी कोई भी फंडिंग नहीं है। अल-फलाह यूनिवर्सिटी की फीस उसको चलाने के लिए सफिशिएंट है। अल-फलाह एक सेल्फ सस्टेनेबल यूनिवर्सिटी है।
The institution in Faridabad's Dhauj village grabbed national attention after it emerged that terror doctor Umar Nabi, who carried out the Red Fort blast, was employed there. Apart from Umar, two of his accomplices, terror doctors Muzaffar Shakil and Shaheen, also part of a white-collar jihad terror network, worked at the university. And now, only one question remains. Is this all a strange coincidence, or was the terror den part of a bigger conspiracy?
And speaking about Al-Falah, we've gathered more breaking news inputs. In fact, everybody is wondering what was happening inside this university in the Delhi National Capital Region, ladies and gentlemen. Faridabad, surrounded by Gurugram, New Delhi, Noida, Greater Noida, Ghaziabad. Now, all of these cities are in the Delhi NCR region, Shawan. And nobody knew that Al-Falah, a university, was home to a Jaish-e-Mohammed module. It had almost become a den for the Jaish-e-Mohammed. So much so that the police were inside a few days back. That's the breaking news input that we have right now. Shawan, do you want to tell our viewers what the breaking news input is?
Well, in fact, our colleague Sobia, who had gone inside Al-Falah University to get a sense of what was actually happening, she's spoken to a lot of people. Now, this is what we are picking up. As late as 3rd of November, you've had the Faridabad police actually entering Al-Falah University for a police verification. And lo and behold, this is what happens. The police goes into room number 29 on 3rd of November to do a police verification of Dr. Shaheen. What we do not know is to whether at all the Faridabad police did actually manage to sniff anything, because it turns out that the plan was that she wanted to leave the country immediately after the serial bombing. The serial bombing, in fact, was basically planned for the month of December, and multiple bombings were to take place. Niranjan, not just one location, but multiple locations. Urban centers were to be targeted. It seems that she had already applied for a visa. What we do not know is where exactly was she planning to go, which country she had basically applied. Of course, the police really knows about it. Now, it does appear right now that we've just got information that the visa was already applied, and since the visa was applied, I'm given to understand some sort of a verification was to be done. Now, this verification can only happen if at all the police basically, they've generally would have done that for a passport. Okay. But it seems it has done for a visa too. Let's try and get more word from.
Is it normal, before we go across to Soumya, you can put Soumya on the screen, Shara. Is it normal for the police, when you apply for a visa, to go to the campus and check?
Niranjan, let me just tell you this, that the police was aware that something was wrong, because this is not an operation that has been done in the last few days. This has been going on for quite some time. In fact, it seems that on 10th of November, when they were very close to nabbing Umar, things really went out of hand. And we do not know as to if at all this was for a visa. Why exactly would there be a police verification to begin with? Because generally that's not the case unless it is to a country like Pakistan.
Okay, Soumya, let's go across to her. Do we know where she applied the visa for? Where was she going to go? Where did she plan to flee India and go to?
Yes, well, see, the details with regards to where was the visa application, for which country the application was for, it's still under the wraps. As far as the details that we've accessed, that the verification happened on the 3rd of November. The exact room number where the verification happened, we have the details with regards to that. The room number 29, apparently, which belonged to the terror Dr. Shaheen. The verification happened then. However, if you can see the chronology, it was on October, towards the end of the October, when Mujammil Shakil was arrested, and few days later the police was here for a passport verification of Dr. Shaheen. So a lot of things have started to unraveling with regards to the terror Dr. Shaheen's active role in this terror module, and how the whole plan was for multiple terror blasts, serial blasts here in the national capital. However, the month which was decided was of December, but the plan eventually was that if the plan goes successfully, she was supposed to flee India. With regards to which country the visa was for, visa application was for, it is still under the wraps. The details with regards to that are yet to be given by the police officials. However, as we speak, we are outside the Al-Falah University, where earlier today the fourth car in question, where the suspicion was highlighted by the police officials and the security agencies, the Brezza car, was registered under Dr. Shaheen, the terror Dr. Shaheen's name. So a lot of links emerging with regards to Shaheen's activity and her role in this terror module.
Thank you for that. In fact, one of the cars that was recovered today, Shravan, was inside the Al-Falah campus. Actually, it can't even be called a university anymore, right? The university status has been revoked.
Yes.
So let's just call it Al-Falah. At Al-Falah, today there was a big development. If you can show the videos of the 3 cars that have been a part of this entire plot so far. We don't know how many cars more Shravan has.
Well, in fact, you know, with every passing day, there is more and more information coming in. In fact, when I spoke to a source of mine earlier today, just to get a confirmation about the number of vehicles, you know, there isn't clarity, but they suspect, because since the plan was to carry out serial bombings in the month of December, it was not limited to just one car. And it seems there are more number of people who are part of this doctor module. In fact, on your screens right now, the Hyundai i20, Red EcoSport, and the Brezza, the Maruti Brezza, which was basically seized earlier today. Niranjan, if you would like to take it forward with regards to
what we know so far,
how.
One of the angles that we've been able to bring to our viewers is that this particular car was loaded with ammonium nitrate fuel oil triggered by IED. The explosion that you saw, and the intensity of the explosion was such that in a split second, people were killed and body parts flung 300, 400 meters away, some of which were even found this morning. That was the intensity of the blast triggered inside this car. In one particular angle of the CCTV, when the car is passing through a toll booth, you can even see material on the rear seat of the car. Now, we don't know what that material was, but safe to assume that their plan was to make car bombs, load car bombs like the Hyundai i20, a Ford EcoSport that went missing yesterday. There was a wild goose chase for it. They found it in Faridabad, close to the Al-Falah University. Now, there was an investigation, Shravan, so I'd like to hear from you what was found in that investigation on this red car, because it went on for 24 hours. And we were told that a third car was also owned by these terror doctors as of this minute. And that car was found inside the university campus today, Shravan.
Well, in fact, in terms of what is it that they have found so far? We are being told that explosives that were recovered from 2 houses in Faridabad was not all. There are more explosives that they suspect that was hidden somewhere else. It turns out that some of the explosives, we haven't been told as yet of the amount of explosives that have been recovered from this vehicle that you see. Till about 2 o'clock this morning, this particular car was being examined. Entire area was actually being cordoned off. No one was being allowed to come closer. And interestingly, this vehicle was basically found from a farmhouse. It was parked after the blast actually took place. And the fact of the matter is that the brother-in-law of Omar was actually using this particular vehicle. So just look at it, how it is spreading. The tentacles of this entire doctor module has a far-reaching impact.
Okay, so here's the story so far. Now, we are told that 3 cars, pictures of which we have, but there could have been many more cars that they plan to acquire, load up with bombs, because the amount of explosives that they had gathered, which we know of, is just 3 tons. They plan to prepare car bombs and take it to different parts of the country and explode it in December, like we've been talking about. December serial blasts were planned. Here's the story of the cars and what we know so far.
These 3 cars on the screen are the essential parts of the larger web of the terror attack on the national capital. Car number 1, white Hyundai i20, that did a zigzag through the capital and then blasted off, with terror doctor Umar Nabi sitting behind the wheel. Car number 2, the Red Fort EcoSport, seized by the police near the Khandawali village, said to be owned by the same terror doctor Umar Nabi and used to export the explosives.
इस वक्त हम फरीदाबाद के खंडावली गांव के अंदर मौजूद हैं, जहां पे लाल रंग की इको स्पोर्ट कार को स्पॉट किया गया था। ये गाड़ी डॉक्टर उमर जो आतंकी है उसके नाम रजिस्टर्ड थी। मेरे पीछे की तस्वीर में आप देख सकते हैं, हाँ, लगभग हम यहाँ से 100 मीटर की दूरी पे मौजूद हैं। और ये तस्वीर आप देखिए, रेड कलर की इको स्पोर्ट कार आपको तस्वीरों में देखी जा सकती है। कल शाम के समय इसी गाँव के प्लॉट में गाड़ी को स्पॉट किया गया था और अब गाड़ी को पूरी तरह सर्च किया जा रहा है। कल शाम के समय एनएसजी की टीम यहाँ पर पहुँची थी। एनएसजी के अलावा जांच एजेंसी यहाँ पर आई थी, एनआईए की टीम आई थी और गाड़ी को पूरी तरह सर्च किया गया है और सर्च करने के बाद एनएसजी की टीम यहाँ से जा चुकी है।
And car number 3, Maruti Brezza, found today, parked near the Al-Falah University and allegedly having been used for recce before the attack. According to the sources, the original plan was to acquire 32 vehicles and carry out a coordinated vehicle-borne IED serial attacks across the city. The script had been prepared, explosives had been acquired, and the cars were to be assigned. With the discovery of Brezza at the Al-Falah University today, the number of cars found linked to the Delhi blast has come to 3, encompassing parts of Delhi and Faridabad and raising more questions. How massive was the actual planned attack? And how many vehicles are yet to be found?
So if there were so many cars, ladies and gentlemen, and if one car has created mayhem in the Delhi NCR, whether it's 4 cars or 32 cars, how many cars did they have? Was there a larger module? Were there more terror doctors? Shawan, what do we know? And then we'll take that report. If you can tell us quickly, how big was this December serial blast plot?
Well, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Even if I say, as far as the investigation goes, we just know a part of the story. The full story is this, ladies and gentlemen, that it starts with this man called Dr. Muzaffar, who essentially wanted to start a new outfit. Information of which, obviously, Pakistan's ISI had, and they wanted to use it at the right time. It turns out in the month of October, when they started having multiple meetings with ISI in Pakistan, occupied Kashmir, and they wanted to tap vulnerable people, Muzaffar was one such person. In fact, the instructions that were essentially given was take full revenge of Operation Sindoor. And the reason why that they wanted to strike now was only because they were frustrated in the manner India was able to destroy Bahawalpur, the terror headquarters of Jaish-e-Mohammed. That is the reason why they wanted that there has to be a non-deniability factor. They did not want Pakistanis to be involved in it. So they wanted to use locals. Local Kashmiris are to be used so that all times Pakistanis can stay away from it. It turns out that they already knew that this man was working towards it, took full advantage of it. In fact, Adil, Muzammil and Omar were basically amassing this entire arms and ammunition for the last 2 years. this entire setup did actually exist. They were waiting for the right time. It's just that the funding came in and the fact the push came in from Jaish-e-Mohammed, and they essentially decided that in the month of December, some vulnerable locations and locations which is going to have a far-reaching impact. For instance, Uttar Pradesh happened to be one such place that was on top of their priority list, Niranjan.
Obviously, they've been eyeing the Ram Mandir for many years. That's one of the details that we picked up, that they planned a much larger blast, and the sleeper cells have been working for many years, but they found this moment now, November, to strike because of, one, the arrest, two, Operation Sindoor. Here's what they initially planned.
What investigators initially believed to be an isolated incident has now turned out to be far more alarming, far more sinister. Sources tell Republic that the arrested suspects, allegedly linked to Jaish-e-Mohammed, had drawn up a detailed, multi-phase plan to execute 6 coordinated blasts across the NCR. Interrogation details show the date was not random. The module shows December 6th, the day the Babri Masjid was demolished, as a deliberate act of revenge. Intelligence officials say that the accused even referred to the operation as a symbolic strike for Babri. According to the investigators, the suspects had planned the plot in 5 precise phases, from forming their cell to triggering the blasts. The operation began with the formation of the terror module, linking with JEM and Ansar Ghazwatul Hind. Raw materials for IEDs and ammunition was then sourced from Nuh and Gurugram, Haryana. Lethal chemical IEDs were also manufactured. Potential targets were identified. Assembled bombs were then distributed among the module members. Officials say that the group was originally meant to strike in August, but operational setbacks delayed the plan. When revived, the date chosen was not just tactical. It was ideological, tied to decades of propaganda by Jaish-e-Mohammed against the Babri demolition. And as investigators piece together what is Delhi's one of the darkest days, the focus now shifts to uncovering who else was part of this deadly conspiracy.
In fact, ladies and gentlemen, one of the key elements of being a journalist in the newsroom and not on the field, in the newsroom, is witnessing all of these pictures, videos, images that come into the newsroom during a big story. And one defining image that came in last night, Shravan, just when we thought we had wrapped up, a little after 11:30, when we just left office, a video came in showing the moment of the explosion, and this is the closest we've seen it. I'd like to show that video now on your screen. Let's show you the video of the moment of the explosion. Not this one, Sharat, the last night, the video that we broke, the moment of the explosion, where a CCTV footage captures all the vehicles standing at the signal. And we broke it a little after 11 a.m. Yeah, look at this video. This 11 p.m., I beg your pardon. Look at this video. When you play this video from the beginning, let's just pause the video there. Pause the video. Can we pause it? Okay. Okay, we got to pause. Just rewind it a bit. Okay, rewind it a bit. Okay, we'll play the video again. But what I wanted to just, point out in this video, let's pause it please right now. Yeah, okay, you look at this video. Shravan, it was carefully chosen, right? You see all the videos, he's moving around Delhi, he's going around all the streets, but 6:51 p.m., this is the car, right? You can see the lights blinking when the video plays, not playing it right now, but just want to point out how crowded this area was. If anybody is familiar with this particular location in Delhi, this is right outside the Red Fort metro station. Shravan, I've been there a couple of times. Extremely crowded, right? Just when you come up the metro station, this is what you find. And all these auto rickshaws that you see here, and I can count at least 15 to 20 of them, from here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are at least 20 you can count. These auto rickshaws are basically waiting along the road, along the footpath to just pick up passengers because it's a highly crowded area. This place was clearly chosen, Shravan?
Well, in fact, one aspect is this. What happens before this and what was he really doing? That is very clear because it seems that a decision was taken that he was very close to have been in the custody of a Jammu and Kashmir police. And that is the reason why they wanted to ensure that something has to be done, because if this guy gets arrested, if Omar gets arrested, the entire module basically collapses, because he happens to be the most radicalized character, someone all through in the meetings that have taken place. And so far, Shaheen, Muzaffar, as well as Adil, all have essentially said that this man was the one who was pushing for it. Now, what really happens here? Now, he carries this entire arms, the ammunition that he had in the boot space of the car. It was an ammonium nitrate fuel oil with IED-borne vehicle. That's quite similar to what we had seen in the High Court blast that had taken place. Now, this person, this terror doctor basically moves towards this area. It seems that only discrepancy here, Niranjan, is that Connaught Place was also one of the target.
Okay.
Was he really moving towards Connaught Place is something that they are still trying to figure out.
Yeah.
But here, he comes in, sees the signal here, and realizes that it will cause some damage. And that is exactly what has happened. But the reason why this was done in a hurried manner was only because he was very close to have been caught.
Shravan, you look at the timer there. Let's play the video in real time as it came in. Shravan, Sharath, let's just keep playing it, right? Let's just keep playing it, okay? You just see, people are moving and boom, and everything is just, look at this. I mean, this video is so telling. And the next second, can we just go to the aftermath and pause on that video? In 1 second or a split second, there's an explosion. Just pause it. In a split second, there's an explosion, right? And this is the aftermath. You can see that there is nothing left. You can see that there is the frame of a vehicle that is left behind. There's a spark, and the damage was done.
This is all the mangled remains of the cars.
Have you seen this ammonium nitrate fuel oil being used anywhere before in India, Shravan?
Well, in fact, it was in Coimbatore blast that has happened, not really the case as far as the Delhi High Court blast is concerned. Now, they could have basically added more to it, sharpeners and other metal items, which would have had a high-intensity impact. Having said that, it seems that only reason why that could not have happened is because they knew that he would have been arrested.
But I've never seen a video like this, Shravan. I have to say, we've seen many suicide bombings. We've seen many bombing videos that we usually come into our newsroom. But an impact like this, there is a spark and boom, this is what is left behind. Had to say that I was shocked seeing this video. 12 people died, that's the official number. This morning, there was a forearm of a person found 300 meters away. That was the impact of this blast. So I think we'll go to the next report right now. Here's a report of how investigators reconstructed the site and what they found on the intensity of the blast and this particular car bomber, Umar Nabi, the Hyundai i20. What really happened? Here's what we know from the investigators.
Agencies accessed footage showing the suspect, terror Dr. Umar Nabi, masked, driving the white Hyundai i20 through the Faridabad toll plaza. The footage shows him looking consciously into the camera, as it is also visible that there has been a large bag or an object visible on the back seat of the car. Investigators believe that the bag contained explosive devices that detonated at the Red Fort. The same vehicle was later spotted driving through the Connaught Place, the heart of the capital. Investigators believe that this may have been their idea to carry out the blast at central Delhi, just about 3.1 kilometers away from the M Block Connaught Place. The final known stop before the Red Fort parking lot was the Faiz Ilahi Masjid. Footage confirms Dr. Umar visited the Faiz Ilahi Masjid in Old Delhi. He drove from here straight towards the Red Fort site. The three videos that have emerged today all add up. The aftermath is not known. Look at this. Umar Nabi was seen entering the Red Fort parking lot at around 3:19 p.m., leaving at 6:48 p.m. He's believed to have been inside the car in this period. The bombing day now pieced together in videos.
Well, in fact, Niranjan, some big news now coming in. The response really coming in from the government. Remember, there was a CCS immediately after the Prime Minister basically landed in the national capital, where the government has basically called this a terrorist act. Now you have the Home Minister, who's overseeing this entire investigation, has put out a stern message, Niranjan.
Shravan, the Home Minister's message, it's being attributed to the Home Minister. So there's a story breaking into our newsrooms right now. Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, has said punishment for Delhi blast perpetrators will send a message to the world that no one should dare to think of such an attack again. I'm repeating because this is an extremely strongly worded message. Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, saying punishment for the Delhi blast perpetrators will send a message to the world that no one should dare to think of such an attack again. Shravan, obviously he's talking about the punishment, and that punishment will be, I don't know, kinetic?
Well, in fact, non-kinetic operations are already going on. Whether at all there would be kinetic operation is something that one will have to wait and watch. But, you know, step one has already taken place. That is the government calling it a terrorist attack. If that is the case, what really happens with the newly adopted doctrine of the government here, where any such act of, would be considered as an act, this would be considered as an act against the country. And the fact of the matter is this, Niranjan, that Amit Shah, who's overseeing this entire investigation, has made two messages in the last 48 hours. One, with regards to the fact that this is a terrorist attack. The second is with regards to the fact that the perpetrators will be facing the harshest action. And that is the reason why they're piecing together all information right now with regards to who exactly is really behind it. From the investigation point of view, it points towards Pakistan. It does point towards the fact that Jaish-e-Mohammed is behind it. The government so far hasn't officially named Pakistan. They haven't really spoken about the Jaish link. But as we are basically piecing together all that we are getting in right now, there is a clear link as far as these terror doctors are concerned and their handlers who are basically based out of Pakistan. So there is a link, and there is a messaging that the Home Minister is doing right now. This comes at a time when the United States of America too has basically come on board, where United States of America, the Secretary of State, has essentially indicated that this is a terrorist attack and carried out with the intention to cause maximum damage.
Yeah, and he's also said that India knows how to deal with such a situation, and they will. Which is perhaps, Shravan, the last time we responded to a terror attack, it was post-Pahalgam. And post-Pahalgam, when we responded to Pakistan, America tried to intervene. Could not fail. It was ceasefire call, desperate ceasefire call that went out from Pakistan. But this time around, America knows. America saying, we are aware it is a terror attack, and they have said India is capable of handling this particular situation. And if the Prime Minister says, or if the Home Minister says that we will ensure such punishment that it will never be done again, then, Shravan, I don't know, it's a strong message, but strong messaging happened even post-Pahalgam. Strong message happened even post-Operation Sindoor.
Well, let's be very clear here. Post-Pahalgam, there was twofold action that has taken place. One, those who are the mastermind, those who are behind the conspiracy. And that is the reason why there was specific action that was essentially taken against Pakistan, because these were terror dens that were essentially targeted. And then, of course, you've had Operation Mahadev. Those who were behind the Pahalgam massacre, they too were targeted, and these were precision attacks that were carried out. Now, once again, the government making two very serious messaging over the last 24 hours itself. You've had the CCS. The CCS is usually conducted when you have internal security issues or an external security issue, and this time it was after the Delhi blast. The last was only for Nepal as well as in Bangladesh.
I think we have a detailed statement coming in. Yeah.
Till the time you pull that out, let me just quickly say this. 24 hours, two strong messaging coming in from the government. One, the CCS. Second, today, Amit Shah, the Home Minister of the country, saying that strongest action will be taken.
Well, I have the full statement here. Union Home Minister Amit Shah inaugurated, this was during the inauguration of the Sri Motibai Chaudhary Sagar Sainik School and Sagar Organic Plant in Gujarat through video conferencing. While expressing his condolences to the families of those who died in the Delhi car blast, Prime Minister Modi's resolve to give strict punishment to all those responsible for this car blast will definitely be fulfilled. He says the punishment given to the culprits of the Delhi car blast will send a message to the world that in the future, no one can even think of carrying out such an attack again in our country. All eyes are on the government. All eyes are on the government. Let's see what they do. Taking a short break, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue this special broadcast, a reminder that at 8 p.m. with Arnab, looking at the radicalization angle, Islamist radicalization, a reality you can't run away from that led to these terror doctors, radicalized terror doctors and cleric network that led to the blast in Delhi. And at 9 p.m., the investigation, the pieces are being put together. It's time for a crackdown and nothing less than a complete crackdown this time. While we talk about Delhi 10/11, the Delhi blast, the 10/11 conspiracy, there is something sinister that's happening. And it all is linked to Pakistan, and we wanted to break away from the 10/11 conspiracy to another bit of breaking news update that we're getting in. You may have heard of flights being delayed, flights being affected in different airports, but mostly the Delhi airport, all terminals at the Delhi airport a few days ago. It now appears that too was a sinister Pakistani design. Shavan, should we go to the breaking first up?
Well, in fact, it is about GPS spoofing. We'll try and break it down for you to understand what exactly is GPS spoofing. In a layman term, it is essentially interfering with the signal that an aircraft actually gets, leading to a situation that for a couple of minutes you would actually get the wrong signal. For instance, if the aircraft is about to land at the IGI airport, it gets the wrong signal, leading to a absolute chaos for the ATC as well as the pilot. In fact, just about a few hours ago, we are given to understand the DGCA, in fact, has now told all the airlines that the moment you report GPS spoofing, you have to do it within the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, so we wanted to bring the details of the GPS spoofing. And I think this tells us what really happened at the Delhi airport. Just to tell our viewers a little bit about what we've understood from the details that Shavan has been able to gather through our reporters, Soumya, Harsha, everyone on the ground. Harsha, in fact, has been tracking the aviation story, and she spoke about how it could be a bigger threat than what we initially thought. Delhi's airspace faced a massive GNSS or GPS disruption on the 5th of November. That's roughly about 7 to 8 days ago. Over 800 flights were delayed, and we all reported it. Complete chaos at the airports, especially because of Delhi being impacted. Flights were either delayed, diverted at Delhi's IGI airport during this disruption. And let's also tell you what we know so far about GPS spoofing. Pilots reported loss of navigation and position errors, which effectively means in layman's language, Shavan, that when they were landing during an approach, essentially they went blind. Is that the right way to put it? When you're landing, you go blind.
So you're basically interfering with the internal system of an aircraft. So there are certain calculations based on which the aircraft basically lands. And if you try to mess with that, it could actually have a disastrous ending, if I may say so, because that is exactly what most of the airlines have actually reported. And now the DGC has gotten into the picture.
Okay, so should we go across to Harsha? Harsha joining us with the details. Let's go across to her. Harsha, how sure are we that this was a GPS spoofing attempt? If it was a GPS spoofing attempt, do we know where it was done from? Because if the range of such an exercise is maximum 100, 120, 150 kilometers, where was it being done from?
So, Niranjan, Shawan, this is not something which is very common. We can't ignore it because it's a GPS spoofing. It doesn't happen. It's not like a technical issue in an aircraft which can be fixed, maintained or repaired. It is a proper system which is fitted in the aircraft, in the cockpit of the aircraft. And GPS spoofing happens, Niranjan, Shawan, 6 nautical miles above the runway. when the aircraft is about to land, it's 6 nautical miles away from the runway. At that particular timing, the GPS spoofing is happening. And almost for 15 to 20 days, multiple airlines, multiple carrier complained to the DGCA, which was happening at Delhi airport. First time GPS spoofing happened at Delhi airport, and the DGCA took the notice of it after regular complaints. There was one particular aircraft, which was supposed to land in Delhi, but it got diverted to Amritsar because of the GPS spoofing. The GPS stopped working. The navigation switch went to left, then to right, and the pilot couldn't understand exactly where the plane has to land. And that was the big goof up which happened inside the aircraft. That is how GPS spoofing happens. The pilot will not know the navigation. The pilot will have no idea about the air traffic. The pilot will have no idea which plane is coming on the left direction, which is on the right direction. The pilot will have no controls of the GPS navigation. That is the kind of loss of signal which is happening 16 nautical miles mid-air. This is what we have got to know from the regulatory body, from the BTAC, and from the dial as well. And today we have got to know that from past 2 days, there was something fishy which was happening in the Mumbai airspace. The airspace, the international it was monitored that the international flights which are going through Arabian Sea, this particular route P594 and L639, these are the international routes around Pakistan coastal area and the Arabian Sea. The GPS is monitored, and it's seen that it is fixated from that particular area. The GPS spoofing is happening, and therefore the fresh notam was issued that no international flight will use this particular route. So now P574 and L639 route will not be used by the international flight. This was a particular notam which was issued to all the airlines carrier, because now the military is of the opinion that something is happening. There's something fishy which is happening. So Pakistan is not only affecting us on the border, but also in the air as well. And therefore, proper monitoring is being done by DGCA in the air. If we talk about the New Delhi route, if we talk about the Mumbai route, and Mumbai airspace is being monitored from last 2 days, and some serious activity has been noticed. Multiple international aircraft have complained about the GPS spoofing. We have got that number is around 10 to 15 international flight, which have clearly stated that the GPS signal stopped working. There was a loss of GPS signal, and suddenly we couldn't navigate that where exactly to land. There was a flight which was supposed to land at Mumbai airport, but it didn't land at Mumbai airport. It rather got diverted because of the GPS spoofing. So this is the we can say the gravity of spoofing which is happening, and it's very concerning. It's not the technical issue, it's the system which is fixed inside the aircraft. It's the US inbuilt system in most of the Boeing and most of the Airbus as well. And now the pilot in command and most of the pilots are continuously demanding from the government as well that there should be some Indian made system in the aircraft, in the air carriers, because it's now hard to believe that how the systems are being hacked. If it is a hacking, it's a different kind of warfare, it's a different kind of attack, it is directly linked to cyber or not. This still is unknown, because investigation agencies now are working with MOCA, with the AIB, and with the regulatory body to exactly point out how this GPS spoofing is happening. But it's a matter of concern. It's very troubling for the international flight who have misrouted and not been routed to the particular path where they were supposed to land. Back to you.
Harsha, be with me. Captain Randhawa is also joining us on the broadcast. In fact, I remember the day we broke the story, he was live with us, and this evening when we broke the details of the GPS spoofing, he spoke about it briefly. But it's now confirmed, Captain Randhawa, and we now know that there is a character to all of it, a face to all of it, and that face is Pakistan that is attempting to do this. War without weapons.
Absolutely, what you rightly said, that GPS spoofing, when we call it, is the GPS jamming which prevents the receivers from locking onto the satellite signals. Spoofing basically involves broadcasting counterfeit satellite signals to deceive GPS receivers, causing them to compute incorrect position, navigation, and timing data. Spoofing, actually, if you have seen in the European routes, it starts on some parts of West Asia, and then when we go into the Iranian airspace, into Turkish airspace, and parts Iraq and all that that area, Turkey, that part, and now it has started occurring close to the Indian borders or in Indian context. So this is basically what has happened a few days back when we were contemplating that what has happened in Delhi. That was due to automatic, this system which is there in the ATC, which sends the signals to the automatic tracking system. That was one area where AI had initially said that that has caused disruption of flights because they had resorted to manual flight planning by the ATC controllers. But however, Mr. Dole has now said that there is spoofing of GPS, which is taking place in the Indian airspace. Now, this is a very serious thing. Now, GPS signals, when they give you a wrong position, like I'll tell you, a runway which looks at a particular point, it may be shifted about a couple of miles away from where it's supposed to be. Now, in case of, poor visibility and all where the pilot is not supposed to be and it will execute an approach. So it could be dangerous. Now, this spoofing, someone is doing, could be doing through the cyber attacks. This is a silent type of war, which and the world needs to take a big cognizance of this GPS spoofing which is taking place because it's becoming a serious threat day by day.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, Captain Randhawa, for putting this into perspective. A story that we'll be tracking very closely because there is a lot more than what meets the eye right now. Who exactly is behind it? And the fact of the matter is that this is not just limited to Delhi airport. There's more coming in. We'll get you more details. Niranjan, bringing back the focus on these terror groups that have been operating. One angle was, of course, the Doctor terror module. The other, which perhaps not many have spoken about, but the real threat really came in from the Ryson attack, or the biological attack that was essentially being played out by an ISIS module. In fact, earlier today, we've reached out to those who were part of this entire terror module and what were they essentially planning to do. Now, this lethal poison was being extracted from castor seeds from a factory in Gandhinagar. And we have actually done a full-fledged investigation to essentially find out what were they really planning to do.
Interestingly, in this particular case as well, there was a doctor, right? Now, whether this doctor was linked to this entire module in Faridabad, prima facie, as of this minute, no. But this doctor has a very interesting history. He's from Hyderabad, Dr. Syed, went to China, studied medicine in China, returned from China, had recce'd several targets, not just in Delhi NCR. He had recce'd targets in Delhi. In Delhi, Sabzi Mandi was one of the targets. UP RSS terror headquarters. This is him. That's Ahmad Mohiuddin Syed, the doctor, the terror doctor, the Ryson terror doctor, who wanted to inject a poison nearly 200 times more lethal than cyanide, and tasteless, odorless, can kill people. And the idea was to target sabzi mandis, target fruit markets. Why? Because this Ryson poison, when you inject it into fruits, into vegetables, can kill thousands of people. And you won't even know what was in it. Here's more about the Ryson terror module of Gujarat that largely went unreported because of the blast in Delhi.
Just a week back, Gujarat Anti-Terrorism Squad arrested 3 alleged Islamic State-linked operatives, including Hyderabad's terror doctor, Ahmed Mohiuddin Syed, in connection with the terror plot. The accused were planning a Ryson attack. It could have been India's first major bioterror attack. The horrific plan was foiled by Gujarat Anti-Terrorism Squad when they nabbed 3 people from Gandhinagar on November 8th, who are accused of attempting to produce Ryson, a deadly chemical compound, to carry out a bioterror attack. Police say that one of the accused, the 35-year-old terror doctor, Ahmed Mohiuddin Syed, was planning to use Ryson, a poison so lethal it can kill an adult even when consumed in minute quantity. The trio is believed to be part of the ISIS module who have been studying the process to extract Ryson from castor seeds from their apartment workshop. When spoken to Syed's brother, Umar Farooq, Farooq claims that his brother is being framed as he went to Gujarat just to make a business deal.
देखिए, ये जो अभी सैटरडे के बाद में जो प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस मीट हुई, उसके बाद में से सबको ये रिवील हुआ कि एसेटॉन और रेजिन के कॉम्बिनेशन से कुछ पॉइज़न तैयार हो सकता है। इससे पहले शायद मैं समझता हूँ कि शायद ही किसी को मालूम था होगा, नॉर्मल पब्लिक को, डॉक्टर्स को भी, इवन डॉक्टर्स को भी उससे पहले दोनों के कॉम्बिनेशन से एक बड़ा पॉइज़न हो सकता है, ऐसा नहीं मालूम था शायद। तो ये पहली मर्तबा ऐसा सुनाई में आया। तो भाई भी जिस तरीके से वो घर पर रेजिन ला करके और वो जो पल्प निकाले और उसमें एसीटोन मिलाए, तो उनको देखने से भी कोई ऐसा नहीं लग रहा था कि भाई को मालूम है, भाई को बताया गया कि ये पॉइज़न तुमको बनाना है और ला करके हमें देना है। ऐसा शायद उनको नहीं बोला गया, बस उनको ये बोला गया कि ये काम है, ये प्रोजेक्ट बनाना है आपको और आपके इतने अमाउंट आपको मिलेगा, ऐसा कुछ वो कहकर उनको अनजान इनोसेंट रखकर उनसे काम करवाया गया और उन्हें जो है ना वहाँ लाने के बाद वो लेकर उनको ट्रैप में डाल दिया गया।
With these arrests, Gujarat ATS prevented one of the deadliest terror incident in recent years. The busted plot exposes the shocking shift from arms and ammunition to bioterror attacks. India narrowly escaped from what could have been a deadly bioterror attack.
Swarali, my colleague, is joining us live from Gujarat. She's been tracking this module. She's been speaking to the ATS teams there. Swarali, where were they arrested from? What was their plan? When were they going to execute it?
Yes, Niranjan, so let me take you through the events and sequence of how they were arrested. Initially, Dr. Syed Mohiuddin, who is 35 years old, he was arrested from the Adalat toll plaza of Ahmedabad. He started from Hyderabad. He was traveling towards Gujarat. And on a specific location, he was supposed to receive the parcel. And this parcel was the drop dead by the other two colleagues, namely Azad and Suhail. Now, they belong to Uttar Pradesh, and Dr. Syed Mohiuddin, who is an MBBS degree holder from China, belongs to Hyderabad. Now, during the investigation, lot of raw material to prepare Ryson, which is a very potent biological weapon which was to be unleashed. And as we are discussing, the Reiki was done for Delhi, Ahmedabad, Lucknow, and even Jammu and Kashmir. Two of the others who belong to Uttar Pradesh stayed in Jammu and Kashmir for a week, and several locations were reikied. Now, talking about the entire sequence, how he was arrested and what was the plan. According to the investigation done by Gujarat ATS, he was caught, he was nabbed at Adalat Toll Plaza, and post his arrest, other two were arrested because links were found in his mobile. There were contacts, communication was done, and these communication links led Gujarat ATS to arrest both others who had conducted this Reiki in several states, several parts of India, to unleash and uncover this deadly attack, which could have been the first first major bioweapon attack in India. Now, as we are discussing that it's 200 times more potent than Ryson, it can be ingested and inhaled. It is odorless, colorless, so through air it can be surpassed, and through food also it can be surpassed, and the reason cannot be detected because the kind of toxin it is. On the other hand, when Gujarat ATS went to Hyderabad and raids were conducted in the Rajendra Nagar, his resident, Dr. Syed Mohiuddin's resident, at that time even more raw material was procured. On one hand, his brothers informed Republic that he was unaware about the intention and the kind of lethal weapon he was dealing with. But on the other hand, Gujarat ATS claims that he is a very smart individual who is highly radicalized. So it's not a case that he did not know what he was doing, what plan of action he was having. But yes, till now, the plan of action is not clear through the investigation. But according to the sources in Gujarat ATS,
in coming few days we can have major developments in this story, because investigation is still on. On the other hand, it's very important information we have that he was in connect with the handler who is located on Pakistan-Afghanistan border, Abu Khadija.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll keep a close track on that story. We'll keep a close track on that story because we have to move on. We're running short of time now. The next story we had was on the ANFO, or the ammonium nitrate fuel oil mix that was used in the Delhi blast. Now, we were told, Shravan, that Umar Nabi, the car bomber, this module of Muzammil, Adil, Shaheen and Umar Nabi, the four of them had managed to gather about 20 lakh rupees. Umar Nabi was tasked to go and buy the ammonium nitrate from Nu in Haryana, from Mewat. There was a CCTV, very interesting CCTV footage that we had, not this one, there's another CCTV. It's an early morning footage from the morning of 10, where he's seen passing through the toll booth, entering Mewat. Now, obviously, he was purchasing explosives, or purchasing / moving / loading explosives. Shravan, tell us more about this ANFO.
Well, in fact, the last it was actually used was in the Coimbatore blast that took place. Similarity, of course, is being drawn with the last blast that took place in the national capital, that was at Delhi High Court. But as far as ammonium nitrate with fuel oil is concerned, it is dense. And if it was actually mixed with other components, it could have been even worse. But having said that, it had its own impact levels. Now, the other important aspect here is that this was just what I'm picking up from my sources, that only 40 kilogram. That's what we have just been able to put together. 40 kilogram was all that was actually used in this explosion. Had they actually used what they were essentially planning, that is 350 kilogram of ammonium nitrate and perhaps a little more than that, and of course 2,900 kilogram of IED related materials, then it would have been complete beer. But here, ladies and gentlemen, 40 kilogram, that's all that was actually used for ammonium nitrate, and we have lost 13 innocent lives and over 24 of people who have already been injured.
That's 1%, almost 1% of what they had. Just 1%. Just think about it. Take a look at this report. What ammonium nitrate fuel oil is capable of, and the plans they had with this explosive.
6:51 p.m. Watch this visual. In a split second, the Hyundai i20 explodes. 1 second later, watch what remains of the site. Vehicles blown up. Carcass of metal at the signal. All of this in a split second. That was the impact of the ammonium nitrate and fuel oil, the concoction that triggered the IED. Also known as ANFO, it is a powerful industrial explosive that is used to cause damage on a large scale. This makes it the most preferred explosive to use amongst terror groups. The i20 Hyundai car used to carry out the blast was also laden with ANFO and IEDs. A deadly mix of fertilizer and fuel. ANFO is often used in mining, but now increasingly exploited by terror outfits for mass casualty attacks. Ammonium nitrate was acquired by the bomber Nabi from Nu and Gurugram in Haryana. He made several trips like this one seen on the morning of the blast on CCTV. This is the Hyundai i20 spotted near Mewat. During the raid hours before the blast, investigators recovered a total of 2,900 kilograms of explosive material from 2 houses in Faridabad, 358 kgs from house number 1, and 2,563 kilograms packed in 88 bags from house number 2. With the confirmation of ANFO being used, investigators are getting to the bottom of the scale of what was planned through these blasts. Was it 1 or was it for 4 or 32 is now being reported.
Well, one of the key visuals that came in this morning was also of Umar Nabi, the car bomber, getting out of a mosque on the day of the bombing. What was he doing in the mosque?
Well, in fact, it turns out that centers of radicalization, as we have been pointing out, they thought that this would have been a safer place to be in. And in fact, when the last call actually came in from the handler, this was to park himself for a while before he could actually carry out the plan in a hurried manner. This image that you're going to see right now is just hours before the blast was carried out.
In the Delhi Red Fort blast case, a new CCTV footage has surfaced, revealing chilling new details about the movements of the main accused, Dr. Umar Nabi. Moments before the deadly explosion that killed 12 near the historic Lal Killa, the terror doctor was captured entering and exiting a mosque in Old Delhi. CCTV footage show Umar entering the Faiz-e-Ilahi Mosque near Ramleela Maidan opposite to Turkaman Gate, where he stayed for over 10 minutes before leaving his white Hyundai i20 around 2:30 p.m. on Monday.
Let me show you, we were not, there was no CCTV footage, CCTV visible from outside, but now we'll show you the exact CCTV from which the pictures and videos that Republic is showing you right now. If you can look at the frame, you see that is the CCTV at which Umar looked at while entering this masjid, and then few hours later he carried out the sinister act. He carried out the blast at Red Fort, Delhi. You can see that exact CCTV, and when you actually look closely, the surrounding and then corroborated with the image that is that Republic is showing you, that CCTV which caught Umar Nabi entering the masjid, because there was a lot of confusion. There was some gap between Umar entering Delhi and driving around half of the Delhi, moving to most of the places, most of the prominent places. He entered the parking lot, the Red Fort parking lot at 3:19 p.m.
According to the sources, the mosque where he stayed was part of his final route recce before executing the high-intensity blast near the Red Fort, which shook the nation earlier this week. The latest visuals add another crucial layer to the probe, exposing how the bomber used Delhi lanes and religious premises to stay off surveillance before the attack.
So that's it on this edition of the special broadcast that we had on 10/11. But our investigation continues, Shravan, and at 8 and 9 p.m. two big debates coming up. At 7:30, a special show on defense. But I think the investigation is just going to pick up pace from here. A lot more yet to be revealed.
Well, it's far from over, ladies and gentlemen, and only Republic Media Network keeping eyes and ears open to get you every minute detail of this entire investigation and why you should remain alert, because this matters to each one of us.
Thanks for watching.